Just when you thought the royal family's role was fading into the background, Prince William has sent shockwaves through Westminster. His hidden influence, carefully guarded for years, is now disrupting the very core of UK governance. But what's really happening behind the palace doors? The government's reaction tells a story of panic and power plays that you won't believe. For decades, the British monarchy has maintained a delicate balance, an unspoken rule that royals stay above politics while the government governs. But recent events suggest that this balance is cracking. Prince William, often seen as the poised and reserved future king, is now emerging as a power broker in ways few anticipated. Behind the polished public image lies a web of connections, subtle pressures, and strategic moves that have left ministers scrambling to respond. This is not just influence, it's a silent takeover, a shift in power that threatens to reshape the political landscape of the United Kingdom. Whispers from within government corridors reveal a growing unease about William's behind-the-scenes manoeuvres. Sources close to Downing Street describe an atmosphere thick with tension as the Prince's advisors reportedly met with key government officials without any public disclosure. These meetings, shrouded in secrecy, have raised serious questions about transparency and the boundaries of royal involvement in state affairs. Ministers find themselves caught between respecting the monarchy and defending the democratic process, a conflict that few expected to surface with such intensity. What's fueling this newfound assertiveness from Prince William? Experts point to a convergence of factors: the king's advancing age, the shifting dynamics within the royal family, and William's desire to secure his legacy ahead of his eventual ascension. Unlike his father, William appears more willing to leverage his position to shape policy indirectly, ensuring that the monarchy remains relevant in a rapidly changing political environment. This strategy, however, risks crossing the fine line between influence and interference, stirring controversy among elected officials and the public alike. The impact of William's covert actions is already being felt across government departments. Reports indicate sudden shifts in policy priorities, with some ministers abruptly altering stances after private consultations with royal representatives. The Treasury, Home Office, and even foreign affairs circles have reportedly received discreet signals that align closely with the Prince's known interests. Such alignment is not coincidental. It reflects a coordinated effort to insert royal perspectives into decision-making processes traditionally reserved for elected leaders. Public reaction to these revelations is polarised. Monarchists view Prince William's involvement as a reassuring sign that the Crown remains engaged and vigilant in safeguarding national interests. Critics, however, warn that this blurring of lines threatens democratic principles, raising fears of an unelected power wielding undue influence over elected officials. Social media platforms have erupted with debates, hashtags calling for transparency, and demands for parliamentary inquiries into royal government relations. The unfolding saga has captivated the nation, exposing fault lines in how Britain balances tradition with modern governance. In the corridors of power, the government's response has been cautious yet revealing. Official statements emphasise respect for the monarchy's constitutional role while asserting the independence of government decisions, but insiders suggest that behind the polished rhetoric, there is genuine alarm about the precedent being set. How far will Prince William's influence reach? And how will the government navigate this unprecedented challenge without triggering a constitutional crisis? These questions linger as the UK watches closely, aware that the very fabric of its political system may be undergoing a profound transformation. The growing power of Prince William isn't just about secret meetings or whispered deals. It's about the subtle ways he's reshaping how power flows in Britain. Behind the scenes, the Prince is reportedly working closely with a network of influential figures, including senior civil servants, business leaders, and political advisors. This web of contacts extends far beyond the royal household, reaching into the highest levels of government and industry. His influence is not openly declared, but the ripple effects are impossible to ignore. One particularly striking example of this influence is the sudden shift in government stance on several key policy issues. Just weeks ago, ministers who had firmly opposed tightening regulations in certain sectors suddenly began endorsing new measures aligned with the prince's known priorities, such as environmental sustainability and support for rural communities. Observers note that these changes happened almost overnight, raising questions about what or who might have triggered the turnaround. Political insiders suggest that William's team has been advising select government officials on how to navigate difficult policy debates, offering strategic guidance that often aligns with the monarchy's broader goals. While this may sound like routine consultation, it breaks new ground because these interventions happen quietly and without official acknowledgement. In a democracy where elected representatives are expected to set policies independently, such behind-the-scenes influence raises serious ethical concerns. Adding fuel to the fire is the government's increasingly fraught relationship with Prince William's office. Sources indicate that while some ministers welcome the prince's involvement as a source of stability, others feel sidelined and pressured. Internal conflicts reportedly simmer as some politicians push back against what they see as royal overreach, fearing that too much deference to the monarchy could undermine their authority and democratic legitimacy. This tension is creating fractures within the ruling party, complicating efforts to present a united front to the public. Meanwhile, the opposition parties are seizing on these developments as evidence of a hidden royal agenda. Parliamentary debates have grown heated, with opposition leaders demanding full disclosure of the nature and extent of Prince William's influence over government affairs. Calls for formal investigations and parliamentary oversight are gaining momentum, reflecting growing public demand for transparency. The issue is rapidly becoming a political flashpoint, threatening to dominate headlines and overshadow other pressing national matters. The royal family itself appears to be carefully managing the fallout. Official spokespeople have issued statements affirming the constitutional role of the monarchy while denying any improper interference in government business. Yet the gap between public denials and private actions is becoming harder to ignore. Insiders close to the palace suggest that there is an ongoing strategic effort to expand the prince's influence quietly, building alliances and shaping narratives to strengthen the monarchy's position for the future. This evolving dynamic has also sparked debate among constitutional experts. Traditionally, the British monarchy's role has been symbolic and ceremonial, with real political power resting in the hands of elected officials. But as Prince William steps into a more active role, questions arise about the boundaries of royal power in a modern democracy. Some experts warn that this trend could unsettle long-established constitutional norms and even provoke a constitutional crisis, if not carefully managed. At the heart of this unfolding drama lies a deeper question about the future of the British monarchy itself. Prince William is widely seen as the next king who will inherit a crown facing unprecedented challenges, from calls for republicanism in some parts of the UK to increasing scrutiny over royal finances and influence. By flexing hidden power now, William may be positioning himself to navigate these challenges more effectively, ensuring the monarchy's survival and relevance in a changing world. Yet this strategy comes with risks. The more the monarchy appears to cross into political territory, the more it risks alienating key segments of the population who expect clear separation between royal traditions and democratic governance. The backlash could fuel Republican sentiments and deepen divisions within the United Kingdom, threatening the very institution William aims to protect. The stakes are high and every move is being watched closely by allies and critics alike. As the UK grapples with these developments, one thing is clear. Prince William's hidden influence is no longer just a quiet rumour. It's a force reshaping the corridors of power, forcing government leaders to reconsider their strategies and roles. The coming weeks and months will be critical in determining whether this silent power shift leads to cooperation, confrontation, or something far more unpredictable. The ripple effects of Prince William's rising influence are not confined to London's political arena. Across the United Kingdom, regional leaders and local authorities are beginning to feel the weight of the prince's strategic reach. Devolved governments in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland watch with a mix of caution and curiosity, aware that this new power dynamic could alter long-standing political relationships and complicate efforts to maintain balance within the union. In Scotland, where independence movements have gained renewed momentum, the prospect of a monarch wielding more direct influence is particularly sensitive. Leaders there view William's growing role with suspicion, fearing it could translate into increased royal pressure against separatist ambitions. Reports suggest that discreet communications between the prince's advisors and senior Scottish officials have raised eyebrows, signalling a desire to influence not just Westminster, but the wider UK political landscape. This has fueled debates about the monarchy's role in maintaining or disrupting political unity. Northern Ireland's delicate political fabric also faces potential upheaval. With its history of sectarian divisions and fragile power-sharing arrangements, any shift in royal influence is met with intense scrutiny. Prince William's involvement in certain community initiatives has been publicly praised, but insiders warn that behind the scenes, the Prince's office is carefully navigating these complex political waters to align with broader strategic goals. This delicate balancing act reflects the challenges the monarchy faces as it tries to maintain stability amid deep-rooted tensions. Wales, too, has seen subtle changes as local leaders report increased engagement from royal representatives, especially around cultural and environmental issues. While this involvement is often framed as supportive and symbolic, the reality suggests a more calculated effort to build goodwill and influence policy at multiple levels. This multi-layered approach highlights the Prince's sophisticated understanding of the United Kingdom's political intricacies and his intent to ensure the monarchy's presence remains felt beyond the palace gates. Meanwhile, on the international stage, Prince William's influence is beginning to shape the UK's diplomatic posture. As a senior member of the royal family, William regularly participates in overseas visits and state functions. However, recent reports reveal that his role is expanding beyond ceremonial duties. Behind closed doors, the Prince is said to be advising government officials on foreign policy matters, particularly concerning the Commonwealth and key allied nations. This input is viewed by some as a valuable extension of soft power, but others caution it risks complicating the official diplomatic process. The government's Foreign Affairs Department is reportedly divided over how to manage this new involvement. Some diplomats welcome the Prince's engagement, seeing it as an asset in strengthening international relationships through royal diplomacy. Others worry that mixing royal preferences with official policy could send mixed signals to foreign governments, undermining the clarity and consistency essential for effective diplomacy. This internal debate reflects the broader tensions caused by William's behind-the-scenes influence. On top of all this, the Prince's connection to influential business leaders and philanthropic organisations further amplifies his reach. By cultivating relationships with top figures in finance, technology and environmental sectors, William is positioning himself as a key player in shaping Britain's economic and social agenda. This network supports initiatives aligned with his personal priorities such as climate change action and mental health awareness, but it also strengthens his ability to indirectly influence policy decisions. Critics argue that such extensive involvement risks blurring the line between public service and private interest. Questions are emerging about accountability and the potential for conflicts of interest, especially as royal foundations and charities play increasingly active roles in areas traditionally governed by the state. Transparency advocates are calling for clearer rules and oversight mechanisms to prevent undue influence and ensure that power remains subject to democratic checks and balances. The palace's handling of these concerns is delicate. On one hand, Prince William's team insists that their activities are in line with constitutional conventions and serve the public good. On the other hand, they recognise the growing scrutiny and are reportedly working to refine communication strategies that emphasise transparency while maintaining operational discretion. This balancing act underscores the challenges the monarchy faces in adapting to modern expectations without losing its mystique and authority. As this power play unfolds, public opinion remains divided. Polls show a complex picture. Many still hold the monarchy in high regard and support William's active role as a modernising force. Yet, a significant portion of the population expresses unease about the opacity surrounding royal influence and the potential implications for democratic governance. This tension is playing out in media commentary, public discourse and political debate, reflecting deep questions about the UK's identity and future. What remains clear is that Prince William's hidden influence has moved from speculation into reality. His strategic manoeuvring is reshaping not only how power is exercised within government, but also how the monarchy itself is perceived by the public and political actors. The unfolding story raises urgent questions about transparency, accountability, and the evolving role of the Crown in a democracy that prides itself on clear separation of powers. The coming months promise intense scrutiny, heated political battles, and possibly unprecedented constitutional discussions. As the UK grapples with these challenges, one thing is certain: Prince William is no longer just a figurehead waiting in the wings. He is an active force, flexing hidden power that could redefine the monarchy's place in British life, and the government's response will shape the nation's political landscape for years to come. As the shadow of Prince William's growing influence stretches across the UK, the government finds itself walking a tightrope between tradition and change. Behind closed doors, senior ministers are grappling with how to respond without sparking a constitutional crisis or alienating the public. This unprecedented situation demands a careful balance, acknowledging the monarchy's importance while safeguarding democratic principles. But the challenge is daunting, and the stakes could not be higher. Downing Street insiders reveal intense debates within the cabinet about the appropriate limits of royal involvement in policymaking. Some ministers argue for greater transparency, demanding clearer rules to prevent any hidden pressure on elected officials. Others caution that too much public scrutiny could damage the monarchy's reputation and destabilise the delicate equilibrium that has long defined British politics. These internal conflicts underscore the difficulty of addressing William's influence without igniting political or public backlash. Adding complexity is the Prime Minister's personal position. While officially respecting the constitutional role of the monarchy, the Prime Minister reportedly feels caught in the middle. On one side is the need to maintain a working relationship with the royal family, which commands significant public loyalty and international prestige. On the other is pressure from party members and the public demanding accountability and clarity about the extent of royal power. Managing these competing demands requires political skill and diplomatic finesse, with no clear roadmap.